someone wants to come hang out with me and you and have a dance party and learn and turn up their vibration and plug into the energetics of manifesting and quantum leap into quantum success, and their mind's talking them out of it, I would say you've got to follow your heart. Because when you come in the room, you're in the room with me and with Luke and with an amazing other bunch of high vibrational souls. Something's going to happen energetically. You could be in that room and be blindfolded and have earphones on where you don't hear or see a thing, and you would get a massive energetic upgrade because of the space that will be held in that room.
I'm Luke, and you're listening to the Luke Mind Power Podcast. Welcome back, everybody. This is the Luke Mind Power Podcast. It's a blessing to be here with you guys. I'm really excited for this episode. This is actually a special, really special edition. I'm in Manila at the moment, taking action, getting out of my comfort zone. I actually came to visit my team, but on the way there, I was like, hang on a second, we've got something massive happening in September. And I'm like, we got to check in with the creator of this massive event that I'm going to be speaking at in California. And I want to introduce to you Suzanne Adams from California, Laguna Beach. She lives there. And I connected with her last year, and things have just transpired in such a magical way. And so, Suzanne, welcome back to the Luke Mind Power Podcast.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here. I'm so excited to connect with you, to connect with all of these amazing listeners. And I can already feel the magic of what we are creating together coming in. And this is just going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. You know, if you don't believe in magic, same thing with miracles. If you don't believe in miracles, you'll never see them. And I remember talking to you last year on the podcast, and, you know, I was just getting to know you, and we had an amazing conversation. You shared with us your book. What's it called?
Quantum Vibes. And then I also have a book called Girl Awaken. But I think we were talking Quantum Vibes is what we were talking.
We were talking. And when was Girl Awaken before that?
It was before that.
Yeah.
Girl Awaken is more of like a fictional, magical, mystical story to help people connect to consciousness, upgrade consciousness, but in a fun, magical way where you don't have to think. Quantum Vibes is more of like how to use the energetics of manifesting, like an how-to manifesting guide that's entertaining, but that's like bite-sized, digestible pieces of neuroscience, quantum physics, the law of attraction, and just a bunch of fun stories.
Man, what you're saying is juicy. There's a lot there, and that's why you have to invest in yourself, right? How much has your life transformed because you took action, because you went to seminars, conferences, you invested in programs, courses, you invested your time into learning from podcasts or speakers or motivational content? How has that helped you to get to where you are now? Because I'll be really honest with you. I didn't know who you were when we first started the podcast last year. And it took me a little bit of time to understand the power of who you are. Like, honestly, like even the before we made agreement to have this live event in Laguna Beach and for me to be on stage, you know, sitting with you and listening to you and spending more time. And this is the thing that most people don't appreciate, is that the more that you invest time into someone, the more that you can understand them better. And the communication that people are missing, the transparency, the authenticity, that's where the disconnection is. And so spending that time with you, like, just opened my eyes so much and changed my perception, gave me more information, awareness of how powerful you are. But what have you done to get you to where you are now to be able to do what you're doing? Like, it takes a lot of confidence. It takes courage. It's like there's got to be that pain, that why, that deeper core purpose within yourself as to why you're showing up and why you want to help people.
For sure. And just thank you so much for just really seeing my light and really plugging in. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to collaborate with you and for us to really link arms and spread magic and awareness together. And so for me, you know, I had a huge awakening back in 2013, and I had gotten to a space and place. We talked about this in depth on the last episode, so I won't go into it, but it's basically, I got to a space and place where I didn't want to breathe. It was like nothing was working out the way that I wanted to. And all of a sudden I had what I call a quantum moment, which is a moment in time where you can't unsee, you can't unremember. It's like a remembrance of your soul, of your power. And I had spent so much time numbing that out, being busy, scrolling on the internet, drinking wine to quote unquote take the edge off. And as I began to awaken and as I began to remember, I needed people to remind me what was possible. I needed to be energetically held in a container that could help me unlock my wisdom, remember my power, and have the confidence and courage to boldly show up. Because I believe that our species is evolving, the world is changing, and I believe that a lot of us are here that are meant to do big things, and we have to be able to link arms, collaborate, to move, to go, and to infuse our genius and our magic into other people. And so one of the first things that I did that helped me transform on so many levels was I began to go to events and retreats. And it was interesting how that happened because I felt so alone on my journey. I didn't really have a spiritual community. I didn't know other people in this online world. I didn't know a ton of people in the personal development conversation. And so as I began learning and became obsessed and wanted to learn about frequency and energy and manifestation and really how to come into alignment with my power and my purpose and really how to create a life that excited me and lit me up. I didn't want to just go through the motions anymore. I didn't want to live on someone else's terms anymore. I didn't want to fit into a box I wasn't meant to be in. And so I began to just boldly move. I let go of what everyone else thought, and I began to find people that inspired me. And once I found the people that inspired me, I plugged in. I would go to events. I would go to retreats. I hired coaches. I hired mentors. And what happened, Luke, was phenomenal. It was spectacular because all of a sudden I was sitting in a room with 100 people or 200 people or 1,000 people or 50 people or 10 people. I did it all. And I wasn't alone anymore because now all of a sudden my soul was connecting me with the people that I was meant to serve. I started attracting clients at these events. I started finding other coaches at these events. I started finding spiritual best friends. One of my best friends to this day that I've traveled the world with, I met at a retreat in 2014. And so it's we have to listen to the call when we feel ignited about something. And where most people go wrong is they feel like they want to do it, but they're prioritizing things that don't matter. And this is matter. This is what matters. It's turning on your soul. It's turning on your light. It's opening up your abundance portals. And when you find someone that holds a beautiful container, then everyone elevates and everyone wins.
Just take a moment, everybody, and just let that digest because this is what it's all about. There's so much power in what you just shared, right? Even the connection of people that you didn't know that come into your life. I like to see people like yourself, for example, that came into my life, and these people, I say they're earth angels, right? Mm-hmm. They come on your path to raise you up, to lift you up. And if you don't say yes, you miss out. And what I've learned is that it's a continuation and journey of following, trusting, saying yes to yourself. Yes. And as you continue going, the thing is, a lot of people want to know the way. How am I going to get there? How's it going to work? And I keep saying this to everyone that says that. It's you don't need to know the way. As you go along the way will appear. And you just need to trust and take action, So for you to show up in my life and for this to evolve into this, friendship that we have, this connection, networking together and connecting and for us to be doing something together, it's a dream, man. It really is. And I'm so grateful to be speaking with you right now, You're amazing, and I think we feed off each other. There's a lot of synergy between our connection and what we talk about. But when you think about obviously investing in yourself and quantum leaping, mm-hmm. right, from where you are to where you want to be, obviously there's people want to grow and people want to transform. People want to be at that level straight away. And the truth is, it's not that simple. There is a process, and quantum leaping is not about skipping the process, but what can you do to get yourself to where you want to be faster? Because the truth is, I believe that we are at times in our own way. Too much, right? We're not around the right people. We're thinking negatively. We don't think with an open mind. We're attached to things that are unhealthy. In order for us to achieve that next level, we have to take some sort of relentless action, get out of our comfort zone, change things. In order for things to change, you have to change. One of the quotes that I absolutely adore right now, which I want you to elaborate on because I know that you've got some secret magic for us. Okay. So I'm not religious, right? But there's a lot of wisdom in scriptures.
Of course.
One of the quotes is, "No weapon formed against me shall prosper." I saw a quote on Instagram which said, "Make sure that you are not the weapon formed against yourself as to the reason as to why you're not prospering." And I think that's so relevant in everyone's life today, that we're in our own way. So what are some tips or tricks or strategies that people can quantum leap from where they are right now to getting out of their own way and really being like in a new magical dimension of reality? Tell us more about that.
Oh, I love this question. And I love the quote that you shared. And, one of the quotes that I've said that people quote me on all the time is, "The wisdom in your heart is far more powerful than the logic in your mind." I'm going to say that again. The wisdom in your heart is far more powerful than the logic in your mind. And so, Luke, this is where people go wrong. I'm guilty of it as well. We all are. We're all on this journey. And what I always say is, like, I'm on the journey with you. And at every event, every retreat that I host, I get a breakthrough too. And if you think about what your desires are, anyone, like if we just play a game and we begin to think about what our true heart's desires are, the logical mind is, like you said, going to want to know how, and we're not going to know the how. It's going to have to be shown to us. And so this is the energetics of manifesting, is beginning to trust that there is something bigger, higher, more powerful, divine inside of your heart that is leading you and guiding you. And so your job is to follow the wisdom in your heart and override the logic in your mind over and over and over again. So I talk about this quite a bit in Quantum Vibes because this is the rewiring and the reprogramming of your mind. And so if people want to know, how do I do this? How do you do this? Is you get around, you get yourself in an energetic state where your heart is open and your channel is open and you begin to tell a different story. You can do that through listening to these beautiful podcasts that you host. You can do that to come spend a couple days with us and watch how we can quantum leap and plug into infinite possibilities. You can do that by really feeding your mind and your soul with high vibrational content that's going to plug into your soul. Okay, here, I want to add on to this. So I really teach, the way I teach is plugging into your unique soul blueprint. So the perfect example is, Luke, you are absolutely plugged into your unique soul blueprint with this podcast, with your dancing, with this message. Like, it is so clear that that is who you are. And then, like you said, you're taking the action. But if you would have even told yourself a year ago, 2 years ago, how you were going to get there, you would have had no idea. And so there's all of these people that want to leave an imprint, all of these people that want to make more money, that want to feel more passion in their life, that want to like do more, that want to make life meaningful, but they get stuck on these, being realistic. It's, I'm using quotes, air quotes, being realistic, because the truth is, if you want a realistic life, then be realistic. If you want a life that blows you out of the water, that takes your breath away, that has you like, like lit up from the inside out, then plug into that frequency and move from that space. And so it's quite beautiful to witness and to watch, because I've manifested things in my own life that I never could have even imagined. And I'm now watching my clients, and I've been watching my clients do it for almost a decade too. And so there is a formula. And a piece of the formula is begin to create an unwavering intention of where you want to go, no matter what. And what happens is we let the buts in the hows come in. So like, I desire this profession, but I don't know how, but I don't believe in myself, but no one's going to want to hear my story, but. If you plug into that, you're not plugged into the quantum field of infinite possibilities, and you're not going to quantum leap. If you can create an unwavering intention of knowing, like you did this last year, you said, I'm going to speak on stages, Suzanne, and we're going to be together on a stage. You planted that seed in our conversation. So when I'm here, like creating this event, you're like literally just on the forefront of my mind. And I'm like, oh, this is perfect, So it's like, we've got to have an unwavering intention. We've got to be able to override the logical mind. And then we need to dabble in the energetics of the way that we want to feel. And you're not meant to do this alone. And so it's like, when you plug into your unique soul blueprint, who activates you, who makes you feel excited, who do you want to connect with? And then you go and you get in that world with those people.
It is plugging in. Now, you know what I believe, and I think that this is the challenge for most people, is believing that what's possible, what they want to achieve because they haven't achieved it yet. And I think it's like quantum leaping to like that version of yourself who has achieved the success, who is that best version of yourself. It's like going and focusing on your higher self and going, okay, what does that person do? How do they show up? How do they think? How do they feel? Who are they? And then, you know, you hear it a lot, like go and become that version. Go and start showing up as that person, right? And then you will attract that, right? That's the challenge, I think, for most people is like you saying, okay, think about how that person lives, how they think, how they show up, how they, you know, what they're doing, and become that person. Is that one of the secrets to manifestation, is becoming and acting as if it's already happened? That's the hardest part, because psychologically, mentally, the mind is going to go, no, you're not. You're not that person.
Yeah, of course. So this is why there's a rewiring and a reprogramming needed of the mind. This is what I like to call embodiment. This is really important, because what happens is we think we want to do something. We think we have mastered something and we know it, but we haven't embodied it. We haven't been able to get the frequency of what it is that we're doing into the cells of our body. And so that is the piece of this. And you know it when someone walks in the room, like the person that talks the talk, that is who they say she is or he is. It's an embodiment. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is when you're manifesting and you want to get to a level where you're not, there's a third dimensional field that we live in. And that's the what is reality. And when we play in that field, we're never going to quantum leap because we're focused on the reality of what is. And so that works on your behalf when your reality is great. You know, like my ocean view, you know, the TEDx talk reaching 3 million people, like those are all things that I can really help to elevate because the reality works. However, before I had those things, it was a very different story. And I had to learn to plug into the energy of what my soul was showing me, of what the desires in my heart were showing me, and move from that place. And it's a dance. It is a dance of knowing, like you said, be that energy. You put energetically that you've already become that. And then you learn how to embody and hold that frequency in your cells, in every piece of who you are, without yet seeing it as your reality. And that's truly how you collapse time and space. Now, if you struggle doing this alone, that's when you've got to look for evidence of other people to show you. So what happens is sometimes, you know, our ego can say, why does he get that? Why does she get that? Like easy for her, easy for him. You better check yourself if that's the conversation you're having, because what you're doing is you're closing off the energetic portal to you receiving it. If you want to be the energetic match, you've got to look at everyone that has what you desire and say, if she can do it, I can do it. If he can do it, I can do it. It's kind of like the 4-minute mile. I don't know if you've ever heard this story, but there was all of these like really amazing athletes were trying to run a 4-minute mile and no one could break it. And then for years and years and years. And then all of a sudden one person broke the 4-minute mile. And then a day later, someone else broke it. And then in 2 weeks, 15, 20 people have now broken the 4-minute mile because one person did it and showed their mind it was possible. And so we've really got to be able to look at our mindset of how we hold what we believe to be true and just check it over and over and over again.
Yeah, his name is Roger Bannister.
He's the one that broke the 4-minute mile?
Yeah. And I heard that story from Les Brown.
Yeah.
And he's been someone that's inspired me so much, you know, as I started this journey. And you would talk about listening to information that's going to motivate you, inspire you, lift you up. If you don't have that kind of an environment or the people in your life, so a lot of people can say, well, you always talk about surrounding yourself with the right people, surrounding yourself with the right energy, right? I say, you know, surround yourself with people that match your energy. Surround yourself with people who are on a higher frequency than you. But a lot of people can say, well, I don't have that. I don't have those kind of people. It's like, well, you do have access to the internet, and you could be someone that is traveling to and from work every single day and spending an hour or an hour and a half in your car. And my question to you would be, what are you listening to? And I turned my chauffeur driver job when I quit the government job that I was working in. I turned that van that I was transporting airline pilots to and from home from the airport. I turned it into a freaking university. I was listening to motivational speakers, to Les Brown is like the number one for me that I was just constantly listening to. And then the School of Greatness, Lewis Howes. And when I was living in Shaolin Temple, I downloaded like episode after episode after episode. And I was basically just listening to learn, right? And it's not about, the one thing that many people struggle with is dyslexia or not being able to retain information. Or, for example, for me, I struggle to read books. So I listen to audio or podcasts or videos, right? But one thing that even information, like even in class, for example, I remember being in school or even trying to learn some sort of course or something. Yes. And my mind switches off, man. Like I'm listening and I'm sure that so many people can relate to this, right? You're in that space or you're reading the book and within like the first paragraph, my mind is gone somewhere else. Mm-hmm. I've read the whole page, but I don't even know what I read, but I'm thinking about something else already, and maybe that's because it's not interesting enough, possibly, but it's not just that. It's that people's minds are hyperactive. And even now, I was listening to a dude on YouTube not long ago, and he said everyone has ADHD. And I was like, what? And it was interesting. And you're probably listening to it and going, what? And I'm like, well, our attention span is so short right now because of social media, because of what's going on, because everyone wants everything really quick, right? If it's not interesting within the first fucking 3 seconds, they keep scrolling. They keep scrolling. Nah. Yeah. But the point of what I'm trying to make is that it's about surrendering. It's about understanding the power of your mind, that it doesn't matter if you don't remember everything, but your mind does. Subconsciously, what's happening? I'm listening to Suzanne speak right now. Have I remembered every single word that she's just spoken? No, but my mind does. Mm-hmm. But something that she said is going to spark and could be a catalyst for a thought that comes up or something that I experience in the future that's going to trigger a thought. And I'm going to be like, where did I hear that? Why is that coming up for me right now? Why am I thinking like that? Did I learn that somewhere? Right? And that is part of the understanding of your mind, of how powerful it actually is, and not trying to force yourself. And I think we put too much pressure on ourselves to try to retain too much information. It's like, stop it. Just listen. Even if you're reading and you can't keep that attention for the whole page, keep reading. How can you relate to that, Suzanne? And what have you learned about the way that you learn? Because everyone's different and everyone can go, yeah, but it's hard for me to, like, let's say, for example, people are like, oh my God, I want to go see Suzanne speak. I want to go to her event. I want to see Luke Mindpower. I want to be there in California, Laguna Beach in end of September. But I struggle with like retaining information. I don't know if it's going to work for me. What do you say to people like that think that way? Or that feel that way?
I learn through immersion and through experiences. And so that's what I created in my business. There's an energetic component to learning that we don't understand. And it's exactly what you just talked about, which is like, how you created the transformation in your life was you created your own university through probably somewhat consciously and somewhat unconsciously reprogramming your mind through listening to people that inspired you. Here's the thing. We all have a unique soul blueprint. And so what inspires you may be different than what inspires the next person and the next person and the next person. And we have to trust that. Like you said, Les Brown was one of your big inspirations. And that's amazing. I don't know very much about Les Brown, but I guarantee you if I listened to him, I would love it. I never knew who Bob Proctor was. He recently passed. I've just found his work and I'm obsessed with it. And it's like a lot of the stuff that I teach and that's written in my book. And so I say find what lights you up. And if you can't find what lights you up, keep looking, because what happens, like a lot of times we don't know because we're so buried and disconnected from our heart. And so, like, if you would have told me even just a couple years before I had my awakening that I was going to become obsessed with personal development, I was going to start this whole movement around empowerment and manifesting and leadership and creating a lot of success and abundance through really plugging into your unique soul blueprint, I would have laughed because it would have seemed ridiculous. But it was finding the nuggets of this person inspires me. And I get it like it flutters in my heart. And this person inspires me. And my soul's telling me go to this event. And my soul's telling me move to this place. And I've checked all the logic out the door and I'm just absorbing. And so now at this level, how do I learn? I watch personal development videos like most people watch Netflix. I really don't watch much TV. Sometimes I like very high vibrational TV. There's some shows that I very much like, but for the most part, I am connecting to nature. I'm meditating. I've got music on. I'm moving my body. I'm dancing. I'm having an amazing conversation with an amazing person. I'm learning. I'm learning from someone that inspires me because as long as we're breathing, we're growing. And so if someone wants to come hang out with me and you and have a dance party and learn and turn up their vibration and plug into the energetics of manifesting and quantum leap into quantum success and their minds talking them out of it, I would say you've got to follow your heart. Because when you come in the room and you're in the room with me and with Luke and with an amazing other bunch of high vibrational souls, something's going to happen energetically. You could be in that room and be blindfolded and have earphones on where you don't hear or see a thing, and you would get a massive energetic upgrade because of the space that will be held in that room. And it's a space where we're going to transcend limiting beliefs. We're going to transcend the doubts. We're going to open up the portal that's already in your heart, and we're going to plug you into your unique soul blueprint. We're going to do it in a way that feels fun and exciting. It doesn't mean that you won't be triggered because you very well might be. And if you're triggered, we're going to show you how to handle that and how to really do some inner conversations around that so that you have emotional intelligence around knowing how to handle your own triggers, which means that you can then hold that in your family, in your business, in your own clients. And so this is such a beautiful conversation. It's a beautiful space for growth. It's a beautiful space to plug into new levels of leadership, because if you're listening to this, there's a good chance you're being called. You're being called into your own next level, into your own next power. And we need it now. And so what I would say is if you feel activated by this conversation, if you love Luke and his mission and what he's up to, and if you want to learn how to understand the energetics of manifesting and how to create quantum success in your life, then come have a conversation with us. Come plug into possibility. Come build your network. Come have an experience that you will remember, that will leave an imprint on your conscious and subconscious mind for the rest of your life.
Amen. Seriously, it will leave an imprint. The investments that I've made into myself, the events that I went to, the little pieces of every action step counts. You can't realize in the moment what kind of an impact or imprint it can make in your life until you keep moving forward. Like a couple of things that I've gone through, especially like going to open mics in Chicago, one thing leads to another. One conversation, that could be a conversation that you have with someone at that event that is going to change your life.
For sure.
I'm live on Instagram 2019. I'm talking to Mark Pies. He lives in New York somewhere on the East Coast. And he says to me, this was like, I had 5,000 or 6,000 followers on Instagram. And we're live and I'm in Chicago. And he's like, Luke, you're in Chicago, man. Go and there's so many open mics in Chicago. You should be going and practicing. You should be going and getting up in front of people and just talking. And I was like, what? And I was like scared because I was like, shit, because like here I am showing up as this like motivational speaker and like going live and stuff like that. But he was like trying to take me to the next level, right? And him planting that seed, I got off that Instagram live, and what was the first thing I did? I went on Google and I typed in open mic Chicago, and a list of places came up. And I found one that said the best open mic in Chicago. So I was like, well, you want to be the best, go to the best one. So I did, but there was people that I met there. There was growth that I had. The first night I got there, I was the last person to write on the piece of paper that everybody puts their name, and I was the last person. There was no more space. I was the last one. And I waited 2.5 hours. I watched comedians, rappers, artists, singers, musicians stand up, poets, and have their 5 minutes in front of everybody. And then it came to me, and I didn't know what I was going to talk about. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I just got up and I waited 2.5 hours just to speak for 5 minutes. And I did that about 6 or 7 times while I was in Chicago, and I went to other places as well. But if I think about the impact that has had on my subconscious mind, or my confidence, those little steps, you may look at that and go, it was only 5 minutes. It's like, yeah, that was the 5 minutes that got me to where I'm at today. And that's the one thing I feel like we're not appreciating enough of, is these small steps. This can be, as much as it can sound like a huge step, but coming to this event could be another brick in the house that you're building for your future, for your success. And it will mean that your house will be strong. And if I look back at Chicago and speaking, these little opportunities, they were part of my bricks that I've been building. I'm not building a house. I'm building a fucking castle.
Woo!
Right? But how do you see that for yourself, for others, that everything compounds?
Everything compounds, for sure. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just these small things, man. And it's like sometimes we don't appreciate these little small opportunities every single day for us to grow. And it's what actually, everyone is always in this delayed gratifying state. Peter Crone talks about this a lot. He's like, you're delaying your happiness because you're focusing on 6 months' time, 12 months' time. I'm not happy until this happens in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not happy until I get this. I'm not happy until I get that. And then when you get it, you're happy for a couple of days, and then you're not content again. And you're focusing on something in the future. So we're delaying our happiness when it's like your success is happening right now.
Yeah. So actually, quantum tool number 5 in my book, Quantum Vibes, is activate the frequency in the now. And that's exactly what you just said. So I have a few things to say about this. The first thing is, when you're playing the I'll be happy win game, when I get the money, when I get the relationship, when I get the audience, when I get and what you're doing is you're actually energetically separating yourself from your manifestation. And so you've got to pull it into the now. And this goes back to the acting as if and plugging into the experiencing what's working now. What are you grateful now? If you're listening to this, you have internet, you have a device. You most likely have a roof over your head. You most likely drive a car. You most likely have plenty, of things to be grateful for. And we've got to realize that this is a journey. And if we got everything we wanted the second we wanted, it would be boring. That doesn't mean that we can't create at turbocharged speed and quantum leap and collapse time and results, because we can. I've done it over and over again. I've helped a lot of people have done it, and you've done it. And when you mentioned back to 2019, when you were feeling fear and you were feeling scared, but then someone planted a seed and you took the action from that seed. That was you taking action from alignment with your soul and your unique blueprint. And it's different for each of us. When I think back, 2014, 2015 is when I felt the calling to speak, and I felt terrified. I was like, whoa, no, who's even going to listen to me? What would I even say? Like, how would this even go? But there was something in me knowing, and that our fear often guides us. When we're afraid of it, it's often guiding us to where we need to go, because we often have to look at our biggest resistance when we're stepping into our power in the fullest moment. And so when I think back to the very first speakers training I went to, and to all these retreats, and I remember sitting in the audience and of workshops and big theaters and looking and saying, like, I know I'm meant to be on stage. And it did take courage. And every time I sat in an audience, it inspired me more. It gave me more courage, and it gave me more connections, more seeds planted, more confidence. Then I began to open up my own leadership. And, everything that we're doing is a building block. That first retreat that you host, that first workshop, that first person you help on a phone call, that first client that you actually get money for, really beginning to start to write your book, to do whatever it is at whatever level you're at and whatever industry you're in, everything matters. And so, like you said, it's just, we can take these little small steps and they compound, and then you quantum leap. And then what's really special, Luke, is when you can learn from people that have accomplished what you want to accomplish, and you begin to collapse time even faster because they're showing you evidence. They're showing you what they've learned. They're shortening your trajectory. And I think it's very important that we do this from a place of a unique soul alignment. You know, it's like, just because your friend resonated with someone, maybe you resonate with that person, maybe you don't. And so there's a feeling in your body that you get when it's your teacher. Just the same as when you see a book and the cover calls to you, that's your soul's way of guiding you. And so you look at, like, if you said you had 5,000 followers in 2019 to what you've created today, that is phenomenal and that is amazing. And so it's like, we've got to look at that as evidence. And I'll look at that as evidence for me on Instagram as what's possible. You took action in the right place. You tapped into your unique zone of genius. You started dancing. You got confidence, and you created something that's really special. And so now you're able to really expand your impact and your influence because you said yes. And so for anyone listening today, whatever it is that you're feeling called to do, just knowing that everything matters. And when you're not seeing it, it's because you're not seeing it yet. And that is an activating it in the now, looking at what you can be happy for now, what is working now. And the other thing I want to say about this is, when we're trying to build an online business, we can get caught up in numbers, and numbers are good and they're amazing and they're great. And they don't always matter, because I believe heavily in quality over quantity, because you want the right people in your world, and you find and you magnetize the right people through following that flutter in your heart, through following that wisdom that's guiding you through. You get chills in your body and you know it's a yes. And if you feel that scary, like that fear, but like, ooh, it feels scary, but like everything in my body is saying yes, follow it. If the whole world did this, we would live in a very different place, and we would have a lot more happier, abundant people on this planet, because you do have the wisdom inside of you that's guiding you. Your heart and your soul is ready. I believe the things that we're going to be experiencing in this world are going to be so magnificent and so spectacular for the people that plug into this magic, and for the people that listen to their heart and coming to alignment. And so gets to be a really exciting conversation if we let it, or it can be a really sad conversation if we're too busy plugging into fear and making excuses for what we can't have and why we can't have it. And so, the last thing I want to say about this is really take inventory of your life. And are you creating reasons that you should go for your dreams just as much and as often as you're creating reasons that you shouldn't? Because the mind is going to kick in and tell you that you can't. The mind is going to keep you in a comfortable zone, and that's not where the magic is. But the heart is going to guide you into the most spectacular, phenomenal places that will make it all worth it, and that will give you every reason to keep plugging into the magic and to keep going and to create your own phenomenal business, existence, passions, and purpose that will really make this a beautiful life.
Damn it. You're amazing.
Thank you.
Seriously. Nah, man. Suzanne, like, far out. Calm down. Nah, this is what I'm talking about. That's why I hang around you, right? That's why we connect, that's why we hang around each other, because we're vibing, and the fact that your book is called Quantum Vibes, the vibrational energy that is going to be at that event in end of September is going to be absolutely something extraordinary that people have never experienced or witnessed in their life. And this is part of also the amount that you've poured into yourself, the amount that I've poured into myself, the amount of self-love and self-care and really nourishing our soul, surrounding ourselves with the right energy for us to be on this higher frequency. Because the truth is, now that we've done it for ourselves, we're reaching out and saying, hey, like, come, we want you to come up here as well. And it's like, that energy is so powerful. So, in saying that, like, I'm freaking excited, eh? Like, I'm also very grateful, I'm grateful for the opportunity. And I know that it's going to be something that is going to change everyone's life. I'm not doubting it. I'm just certain,
me too.
And I know that because of also the evidence that I've created, because of all the action that I've taken in my own personal journey, and proximity is power. It is, everyone that comes into my life transforms their life. That's the, I'm going to sit here and I always say this is no ego. It's not me thinking I'm the best. It's just facts, man. If you hang with me, man, you're going to the next level, and if you're listening to this podcast, you're listening to it for a reason, because you feel connected. You're getting plugged in. You're listening to Suzanne speak. You're like, damn, she's on fire. And it's like, yeah, she is. She's fucking powerful. And when you surround yourself with that kind of power and you keep that in your proximity, guess what? You don't have a choice but to grow. Like, it just happens. And so, thank you so much for not giving up on yourself. I know that there's so much more to your story. There's so much more that you've been through in your life and what you've had to process and overcome. And that's why you're so powerful. I believe that our adversity and our challenges is what builds character. It's what, you go through that helps you to grow. And then you have all of the knowledge and experience to be able to shower people with that so that they can quantum leap from where they are to know what's possible for them, So I'm so excited for this event, and all the details for this event will be in the show notes of this podcast. And there is the website links and all that kind of stuff. But Suzanne, just I know that self-doubt is something that many people struggle with, and I have this this real powerful hunch that people coming to this event are going to eradicate that self-doubt from their freaking mind. Mm-hmm. Am I right or wrong?
You're right. As long as the door will be open for them if they choose to walk through it. I can't make any guarantees, because if someone doesn't choose to walk through the door, there's nothing I can do. But I can tell you the container that will be set, the energy of the room, the high vibration of the humans that will walk in, it is going to be a powerful space to unplug from self-doubt and plug into infinite possibilities. And so if you come with an open heart, if you show up willing to just be present, absolutely. And then I will tell you this, Luke, the people that come to my events, the people that come, just like you said, you can't hang in my world and not elevate. You could not come into this room and not feel inspired. You could not come into this room. When you're with us in this room, there is going to be an undeniable energetic frequency upgrade. You are going to feel inspired, lit up, turned on, excited, ready for magic. And so it's really up to you what you do with it. And if you're ready to come and you're ready to walk through the door, then you can get ready to check your self-doubt and leave it behind you. And that's a truth, and that's a choice that we can make at any moment, at any time. And I just want to say to anyone struggling with self-doubt, choose right now. Look in the mirror, choose you. Plug into possibility, plug into the belief systems that are right for you, and you will begin to rewire, reprogram your mind. You will begin to see new possibilities. And I just want to say that there is a beautiful, beautiful divine force helping all of us. Ask for it. Ask for that support, and just watch as you begin to see signs. Just watch as you're led to the next book, to the next podcast, to this beautiful event with us in September in Laguna Beach. And life is going to get to be really rich and meaningful.
Absolutely amazing. Suzanne, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I can't say thank you enough for showing up, for taking action, for creating this space, for spending time with me. I know that we're going to spend a lot more time over the next few months talking about this, making plans, making this all come to life, and making it as powerful, if not more powerful than what we're even saying it's going to be on this podcast. So, the one thing, while you were talking was, I was listening to you speak, and even for me, this is a quantum leap, a quantum opportunity of growth. It's getting out of my comfort zone. It is getting up on stage. It's actually exercising, right? Repetition is the mother of skill. It's exercising my authenticity, being vulnerable, speaking, showing up, doing more than what I'm used to doing, which is being live on Zoom, doing my coaching, doing my podcasts, going live on Instagram. And this is taking me to another level as well. So I hope that you know what you're doing because I know that this is something I've been manifesting, and I said it back when I came back from North America in 2019, that I was like, I came back to Australia and I was like, this is not my place. And it's crazy that, you know, this is going to be like my first big, you know, event that I'm going to be speaking at, and it's in California. And it was like, it was always written there. It was always like, and you know, you came along and saw that in me. And so I'm so grateful, but I'm not here to take it for granted. And it's by doing these kind of things and collaborating and surrounding yourself with these kind of experiences that you elevate, that you grow. So I am freaking excited. It's not about sitting and living in fear and questioning, because there is a little bit of that of like, oh my gosh, you know, what if I make a mistake? What if I stuff up this and that? And it's like, yeah, but what if you fucking crush it? What if it's the shit? What if it's like and that's the mindset you got to shift, because so many people are like, oh my God, what if it doesn't work out? What if this is not right? What if that? And it's like, what if it's the best? What if it's going to work out for you? What if it's all going to work out? Like, and so, you know, it's the positive mindset to have. It's the way you think, which changes the way you show up, you know? So let's go.
Oh, you have just melted my heart. And that makes me so happy to hear. And I feel so grateful, and I'm so excited to be a part of your journey like this. And I cannot wait to celebrate you on the stage, and I cannot wait to just link arms and create so much magic for so many of these amazing, amazing souls that are going to be joining us. And it is truly an honor and a pleasure and a privilege. So thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Suzanne, so much for your time today and for sharing everything that you have. I have no doubt in my mind that people are going to click on the link in the show notes, take radical action, and join us in September. It's going to be extraordinary, nothing less, only more. And make sure that you follow Suzanne on Instagram as well. What's your Instagram handle?
Suzanne Adams Inc. SUZANNE Adams ADAMS Inc. I love that. I love to connect with y'all on Instagram. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, if you're listening and you're not following Suzanne, freaking hell, get on there and freaking press follow, because she's got these reels that she's got like 356 days of posting on Instagram. And
365.
She's yeah, 365. She is posting every day. And if you want to learn about consistency, this is the woman to learn from.
I think I'm on day 71 today. It's wild. Yeah, so there's lots you can go binge the reels. Yes.
Yeah, man. That's called consistency is the name of the game, and that's where the success comes from. Absolutely. Awesome. Appreciate you, Suzanne. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see you and crush this event and change everyone's life. Thank you for joining me on this journey of self-discovery and growth. If you're ready to grow and reach your full potential and find inner peace, send me a DM that says, I want inner peace, and I'll send you the next steps. You can accomplish anything you set your mind to. When you change your mind, you change your whole life. So don't hesitate and send that DM over to me. Myself and my team can't wait to meet you and witness your transformation in full glory. See you next week.